What a clean transition. What's up, everybody? Welcome on in. I had it in studio mode, and I switched from the starting soon screen to the starting soon screen. I forgot how to stream.
Everybody, psych! Oh my god.
Good morning. Spooo is grinding sand.
Yes.
In the deserts of the unknown right now, so we will start up without him. If he shows up, he'll be in.
Yep.
So today, Jamie, we've been both of us have been pulling back on the stream a little bit to achieve some creativity, right? And today we're gonna, I guess, just dive into that a little bit, dive into that experience and kind of the benefits and, I mean, even the cons of it, right? There's obviously cons that come of pulling back from the stream a little bit, right?
Yeah, because you're not as present. At least to your community, it seems like you're being not as present, even though you might be off working very heavily on something new. And it can be a really tough balance. It's because it's like we've talked about this on the podcast before, where the importance of taking a step back to work on something creatively in a very heavy fashion. Like sometimes you can't let yourself be distracted. You have to stay really focused on what it is you're working on. You can't have another stream up, or you can't, like, I've had people ask me before, well, why don't you show the creative process on stream? Well, it's not as interesting as you might think. The end product might be fascinating, but watching somebody try to tweak something and get it just set a certain way can actually make for very boring content, while you're trying to work your way there. So, but at the same time, it's very important that you take that time to build out something really new, or if you're trying to build out something really flashy.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that can be half done. You've got certain things you just got to follow through all the way, and they demand your full attention, your direct attention.
Yeah, it's totally it. It's like, that's what I felt like when, just before I took my big break, is that I had all this stuff in my mind that I just wanted to achieve, and just like overload, right? And it's just like, I need to buckle down and get this done and just have a little bit more time to my day, because I was streaming a lot, right?
Yeah,
like 6-8 hours a day, and just a lot, 6 to 7 days a week. It's good. It's, like, doing those pushes are very good for your knowledge of Twitch and everything that's going on. But it is like, knowing now, it's like, it's so important to take that step back, pull back on the stream a little bit for the hours, or even fully if you need to, and just achieve some change in what you're working on. And it doesn't have to be the stream. It could be your social content or something you're trying to achieve that just hasn't had the ability to get the time that it's needed to get it done, and the focus, like you said, right? Like that's a big thing for me, is like, I always try to have a stream up, but it's always a distraction, because you're always like checking it, or watching something, trying to pay attention, right?
I remember when I did the podcast with Keg Stand, and a point he made to me, because it's something I end up having to do myself, is shutting down your Discord, because your Discord's going ding, 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 ding when you're actually trying to work something through.
Yeah.
And there are some projects that just require that. And something that came to mind while you were talking was, sometimes it's a matter of just being able to take the time to plan it. Not even when you're executing, but actually like giving it the thought and the focus
just
necessary.
Laying out the idea.
Just to get the idea framed out. Yeah. And then once you've got that framed out, then sometimes it is easier to have another distraction back up again, another stream or the Discord or whatever, while you work, because now at that point it becomes more mechanical at that stage. It's like, I know I want this graphic to come sliding out from the left. Now I just have to build it.
Right.
And you can go from there. So it's an interesting process. It really is. but I love it. I threw myself into it this week, you know, and I've been posting a lot of it on social media too, but everything I've been developing for Plur 2
Yeah.
felt really good.
Right.
It's been a lot of work these last couple of weeks, but it's so satisfying to have that framework built back out again and actually not just redo it, but improve it.
Yeah.
You know, I came up with a new camera that I'm going to be using on Saturday, and the benefits that come out of that for your community are immeasurable. You know, whether it's the fun little stuff, whether it's like something great big, you know, like when you're redoing like an entire theme or something like that. And I was starting to see a lot of creativity like out within the community too. I'm seeing the community try more and more and more.
Yeah.
You know, people doing characters, people doing voices, people, like, it's something I've actually been going out and trying to locate now myself and see what different people are doing again on the creative side.
Yeah.
Like, how are they building on top? Because the game now provides us with so much that it's interesting to see now how people are taking that and building on top of it versus what we built on top of even a year ago.
Right.
You know, because of all the progression in the game.
There's so much to play around with. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's taken the movement of leaders like you to show the way. Right? And I think that's so important. It's something that we kind of strive for a long time, is like we need to teach people the way things could be done, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way things to elevate your stream regardless of the state of the game that you're playing, or regardless, you know, of the state of whatever.
Yeah.
You know, just get in there and create and stop worrying about what you can't do and worry about what you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Something that I've been talking with Dope Sauce a lot about as I've been teaching her like the blacklight tech and all that is there's a lot of joy in building that out. There's a lot of joy in being able to teach it now too. And what I'm like again, what it boils down to for me, what it always boils down to for me is going out there, and I want to see who's having fun with this.
Yeah.
You know, because whether you realize it or not, when you're having a lot of fun with something, you are generating some really fun content for your community. Because if you're enjoying yourself, the odds are pretty good that they're going to be enjoying themselves too.
Right.
You know, as long as what you're doing is keeping them involved and not putting them at like arm's length. Some content does that, by the way. But as long as you're not putting them at arm's length, as long as you're wrapping them in, bringing them in with you, it's like that becomes fun for everybody at that stage.
Yeah.
So
hey, whenever you walk into that stream that just everybody's just like, woo,
mm-hmm.
just like enjoying whatever they're doing, it's like you want to get involved in it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That was actually, you know, and it's weird for me, Mike, because as much as I love Plur and as much as our community is about that, I felt like that's one of the reasons I actually stepped back from those streams, not the concept itself, but the streams, is I felt like I was always behind a mask.
Right.
I know you and I have talked about this before, but I always felt like I was behind a mask. I felt like I wasn't inviting people in enough. And that's one thing I will say, even though losing the computer really sucked, I'm really grateful that it happened in a sense, because this is going to allow me to rebuild this out again and redesign it a little bit in a way that's going to bring everybody back in close. Yeah, it really felt distant to me. That was part of the problem with those streams for me, was when I'm there as myself.
Yeah.
It's very chatty. We're very cheery. We're all together. And it felt like the Plur streams were more about the light show. And that's something I'm working really hard to avoid this time. Like, it's going to still have like the technical wizardry, but it's not, I don't want it to be so distant. Right. At this point. It's become more about like how we're going to communicate certain ideals and certain things to people through these scenes and things of that nature. It's the same idea, but a fresh approach to it. You know?
Get to iterate on things. As much as like it sucks to say, is like your computer loss, that's like just redoing the project, right? So like if you deleted OBS, reinstalled it, and you had nothing, start from scratch. Every time you do that, it normally takes things into a better direction, right? Because you apply the things you've learned. It just sucks because the amount of work that goes into that. mostly if you built it across 2 years or 3 years, and then you're like, boop, reset, and you're like, oh god, I got to rebuild all that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the sucky part. I lost more than when I realized when that happened, but again, it allows you to rebuild it, and now you're rebuilding from scratch, but you're rebuilding from scratch
with knowledge,
with wisdom. Yeah. You know what you want, and it's like all these little things that you would have done if you could only take the time. Well, now you're forced to take the time.
Right.
So you rebuild it out as a basic framework, and then you come back smarter too. It's like, okay, instead of massively building out one theme, I'm going to build out a basic one, and then I'm going to copy off of that and branch off of that to come up with different ways to do it. So everything, like from how you set up your OBS to how you set up your Stream Deck, your Go XLR, whatever equipment you have to reinvent it now. And it does make a difference. And it also gets you playing more, which is something that gets lost a lot too.
Right. When you play, you start learning.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're playing and you're having fun and you're learning something new at the same time. So, and new ideas come from that. And new ideas are usually great things, for both you and your community. So,
hell yeah. Do you think it'd be a good idea to stream at the same time as Attorney or Community Day? If so, what could be the benefit? Don't make decisions not to do things based on other things happening.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also strategy to knowing when things are happening to stream during certain things. And it's tough to answer, because it is like, don't not stream because there's something else going on. That's the simple answer. You can dive into it further and say, like, watch the numbers and know when the peaks are. And if you know that coming off of Community Day, there's going to be an influx of people going around, maybe you can schedule some sort of shout out to happen around that time to then engage those viewers and bring them to you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just strategy. So that would be my opinion on it. Is never not do something because something else is going on. Because if you start thinking that way, then what stops you from thinking this way? What stops you from saying, well, Dr. Disrespect's streaming, he's got 30,000 viewers, I shouldn't stream. He's gonna have everybody anyway, right?
Yeah. No, and I completely agree with that. You need to, no matter what's going on, and this is actually a mistake I've made in the past, by the way. If you start trying to work around everything that goes on out there, and I know that for us it's a little more in our face because we're a growing community. It's not going to work. That's not going to work. You're gonna, because what you're going to do is you're going to destroy your own consistency, because you're trying to work around everything else. If part of growth is your community always knowing when you're going to be there, and at least generally understanding what you're going to be doing, what kind of content you're going to be providing, then you need to continue to be consistent with that. If you start trying to work around everybody else's schedule, or, everybody else's like whatever they've got going on, whatever events are going on and all that, you're going to drive yourself crazy. I actually did that back in the era when tournaments were open every single day. Talk about the worst timing in the world. When tournaments were going on every single day, I wasn't really changing my schedule so much as I was changing the content that I would run. It's like, oh, well, so-and-so is running a tournament, so I'll play Getting Over It today or something like that instead of running any marbles. What a bad idea that was, by the way. That it doesn't, because people were still coming to the stream. My community was still coming to the stream looking for what I was doing.
Yeah. And
they saw what I was doing and they were like, oh, okay. And they left. And I don't blame them, because that wasn't what they expected in that time frame. They were expecting marbles in that time frame. Okay. And then again, anytime you try to juggle around what somebody else is doing or what another streamer is doing, or even if it's a massive event, don't. It's a very slippery slope. And then you got to try to climb back up from it beyond that. Make sure that you do. It really boils down to you do you.
Yeah.
In that case, it's what's best for you, and it's what's best for your growth, and it's what's best for your consistency.
Facts.
Yep.
I was X-Files, saw your question. I was gonna try to hold it for later because I feel like it could be a massive conversation. But we could dive into it if you want, Jamie, about Mixer.
What was the thing on Mixer?
What are your thoughts about Mixer
yeah.
going south? And do you think those streamers would come back and get into marbles? I know one I want to see some come back is Master of Chaos. Yeah. So like, this is a massive event. It's massive for the industry. I didn't want to dive into it so early because we were on another topic. Because I got a lot to say about it. I feel like there's a lot to say.
We can hit it. Let's hit it, Mike. Let's hit it. Yeah, it's on a lot of people's minds. So
like, it's a huge event and it's affecting many people. And like I said this on stream yesterday, I was like, number one, those streamers can't get down. This is their opportunity to take hold, and it's there's already a couple examples of people who have made the switch and already been successful. But this is also another opportunity for them to do the research and find the platforms they want to exist on now. Right? And yeah, there's just a lot of decision making to go on, but getting down on themselves is not the thing to happen. And I think it's a big opportunity. I think it's a big opportunity for people who left the platform to Mixer and are now coming back, because now you have the potential of combining two communities. If you go back to where you came from, or you just go to another platform and start fresh.
Yeah. Along those lines, Mike, like one of the biggest advantages that they have right now, it isn't just the opportunity to bring people along, because what usually happens is when you switch platforms, there's a number of people that are in your community that are going to stay with the old platform. We saw a lot of that when people were leaving Twitch and switching over to Mixer when that whole the initial rush happened, you know, back when Ninja was brought over and all that craziness. And the advantage that the Mixer streamers have at this point is Mixer is no more, which means that
in 26 days
displaced as well. Yeah. Well, within 26 days. Yeah. But the viewers are displaced also now. The viewers can't stay on Mixer either. So now the viewers need to find a new place to be. And where are the viewers going to go? They're going to go where their favorite creators go. This is not a situation like we've seen before. So that's going to give them that advantage. Are there some people that'll just go, you know what? I'm done watching live streams or whatever. Of course. There's going to be different groups. You know, there are going to be some people like, oh, I don't want to go over to Twitch, or, oh, I don't want to go over to Facebook, or, oh, I don't want to, you know, whatever. But the majority, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be willing to follow, because again, Mixer is no longer going to exist within a few weeks. So it's a great time, like you said, to be doing that homework, looking at what's going on, and go, where's my audience going to be best served? Where am I going to be next?
Yeah.
You know, where should it be? And do I expect to see a lot of people come back to Twitch? Yes, I do. Because Twitch is still the most developed live stream platform. It's got the best tools. Affiliates can make income right away. A lot of platforms don't provide for that. Twitch is actually one of the few. I don't know if there's any others right now that even have an affiliate program. So what I want to say is Twitch is the best set up for this, to welcome these guys back, welcome everybody back. And you know, I think that's where we're going to see most people come to. I've seen on social media, I've seen a lot of people complaining about other platforms right now that's not where they want to be. That's not where they want to go.
Right.
So I get the feeling that, yeah, we're going to see a good number of people coming back to Twitch. Absolutely.
No, totally. And there's a lot of conversation. Like this is the thing, is like, now that this is happening, there's so much data out there for you to research and make an informed decision of where you want to be and where you want to exist. And like, kind of like the past actions of these platforms and what they've done already.
Yeah.
And just making informed decisions and make the best decision for you and your community. And the biggest thing is to make a decision. Don't just sit there and like let it eat away at you. Because I feel like a lot of people are going to let that happen and just be like, oh, like my platform's gone. But you can take these next 20, like there was a great idea that was put out there. It was like, just stream on Mixer for like half what you were supposed to stream or something, and then move over to where you want to go and just start shifting your viewers. Yeah. Right? Just tell everybody, hey, we're going to do half the stream here, and then we're going to go over to the other platform and stream there and bring them over and just start try to share as much as possible of where you're going, right?
Yeah.
But
No
it's
matter, and that's
devastating.
actually a great idea, because no matter how good your social media is and how much you've built your reach, you're still not going to be able to reach everybody that just pops in to say hi on a regular basis, you know?
Yeah, you'll still lose people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great way to introduce them to the new platform too. I think that, like, along the lines of what we always talk about with teaching, I think one of the smartest things that some of these new streamers, or I shouldn't say new streamers, but these streamers that are coming over to Twitch could do, just like we talk about like coaching people with the game.
Yeah.
They should be coaching their viewers on Twitch if they're not familiar already. Too. That's going to, I think that would establish an extra bond and saying, you know, here's some of the basics, guys. Do you know you could change the color of your name? Do you know, like, there's a lot of things that happen on Twitch that we take for granted, that if you go check out another service, you don't have all that.
Right.
You know, it doesn't have the same tool set and everything with the chat and all that. So actually educating your community for something like that would also, I think, be a really, really, really smart thing to do, you know, because then they can be more comfortable with the tools more quickly, and they can have more fun, you know, along with you. So it really, when I heard it, like, there were two initial reactions that I had emotionally when I found out about Mixer. One was, I really did feel absolutely gutted for all the creators over there, because there's a lot of creators over there that built or rebuilt over there, and we're really trying to make something of it. You know, there are some along the lines of returning. There were even some creators out there that can't come back. They were banned off the Twitch platform for some reason, and they can't come back. Now they don't know. Now they're not sure exactly what they're going to do beyond this point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's about 3 that I know of right now that found themselves, and they built very loving communities elsewhere, but now they're stuck, you know? But when it comes to, at the same time, I got very happy and excited, because that meant some of our friends were going to come back too.
Right.
Some people that I was really hoping would come back someday are now, there's a good chance that they'll come back this way, because some of their other friends have already made the switch over.
Right.
People that I love very dearly. So I'm very excited to see them come back and see what they're going to do now with the knowledge they've gained of 2 platforms. I just hope, like you said, I hope they take this in the right light. I hope they take this as a positive opportunity and not go too far down the negative road. Like they need to take their opportunity to cry about it. They need to take their opportunity to feel whatever they got to feel, because again, I understand that, you know, as content creators, you do an awful lot of work on a platform, and to have the rug yanked out from under you is tricky.
Yeah.
But you got to get over that. You know, it's like, you're not going to change it. So make your decisions and get moving from there.
This is also the first case of this massive shift happening, like where a platform fully just shuts down.
Yeah.
And like it affects all the content creators on it, right? It's not like relevancy shifted and then like they tried to build it just a year ago. They were buying streamers, right? And it's like, how many people shifted and then believed in them, and then now they're just gone.
Yeah.
And but this could happen again. It could happen with Twitch. You never know, right? Like, what if somebody comes in and offers Amazon a crap ton of money and says, "Hey, we want it," and then Amazon's like, "Yeah, that's a good idea," or whatever they decide, right? And then now, boom! Like, what happens then?
Yeah.
And I think these events are in the future. They'll happen.
Yeah. Well, and that speaks to something that we don't talk about enough is diversifying your audience, basically. You know, the number of platforms you're on, like we talk about, is something I've been told time and time and time again. Pick 3. You know, and if you want to maintain relevancy, you need to pick 3 and build on 3. You know, it's you know, and like for me, I've always talked about, you know, it's Twitch and Twitter, and then I'm beginning to work on YouTube. For others, it's going to be, you know, Twitch and TikTok and you know, maybe Instagram or whatever. But you need places where you can actually diversify where you are and what you can do, because especially if you want to look at this full time up the road, if you rely on just one platform, there are so many horror stories where people were dedicated to that platform and then all of a sudden it was gone. Or like like with YouTube a few years ago, it wasn't that the platform was gone, they completely changed the algorithm.
Right.
And all of a sudden, all these shorter videos couldn't get any traction anymore. Some people were actually losing monetization. They were losing subscribers. It seemed like it was Armageddon. And then it straightened itself back out, because YouTube figured out that they needed people watching longer than 3 minutes,
right.
in order for it to be effective. And that's just it. You need to, there's so many changes that can happen at any given point. And while it's important not to distract yourself too badly and chase down too many things at once, you do need to kind of think ahead if you're going to take this super seriously and try to figure out where else you need to be, where else you need to establish a presence so you can maintain relevancy through any rockiness you're going to go through,
Totally. If you guys have questions, try to submit them through our submissions so we can get them on the feed.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to keep up. Yeah, TikTok's really powerful right now. It's booming. It's insane. Yeah. So yeah, take advantage of it. It's a good time to get exposure if you need it.
Yeah.
Create that content.
Massive untapped gold mine for a lot of streamers. Yeah, you know what? Because it's video, Carla. I want to speak to that for just a second, Mike, because it's something I've been researching especially since Spooo got on it. Mm-hmm. I was like, maybe I need to take a closer look at this, and I've been investigating it more. And because we're in a video medium, I feel like that's a lot of what our communities want from us. Like when they see us, they want to see us in motion,
right?
Necessarily not so much photographs
when
it comes to that kind of thing, so if it's on Twitter, still feels like a more, and I don't know how accurate this is. Twitter still feels more like a static medium to me. Like I get more traction with my posts that are static necessarily than with video, unless I do something really creative and really original. Then it might take off. Like if I do one of the little comedy videos, but otherwise, most of the time, like it seems like people, they want to see pictures because they're looking at it from work or maybe someplace they can't listen.
Right.
Whereas when you go to TikTok and people expect to watch and listen at the same time. So maybe it's something else too, where you have to look at, again, what that platform's audience generally looks for from that platform when it comes to that kind of thing.
Yeah. TikTok works really well with content creators, like short video content with music, right?
Yeah.
It's just like golden.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a little bit of creativity and you can go a long way with it, kind of thing. You're not building out a production. You're doing an 11-second video. And once you understand the tools that are involved, they've got a beautiful set of tools. So once you understand their tools, you can create content relatively quickly with that. So
I wonder if you did blur content on there.
I'm considering it.
Like just little blurbs, right?
Yeah, just those little flashes of, the different trippiness and all that. Yeah, that's something I've been considering. Anything that gets, like with TikTok, it's like anything that gets attention would be, anything that flashes kind of before people's eyes is really a great thing. One of the greatest TikToks I ever saw was that guy that was just singing "If You're Happy and You Know It, Clap Your Hands," but he was doing it with the shark. And it was nothing complicated, but it was hysterical, and everybody saw it, not just on TikTok, but it went all over the place.
Right.
And those are the kind of little things. It's like those really quick little hits. If you can get behind the science of it, yeah, you can get a real presence on there. And yeah, profanity. That's a great point. Posted a video of Charlie sleeping, of your doggo sleeping, and 1,200 views of a dog sleeping. Because everybody thinks it's cute. It's about what gets people's attention.
Yeah, the politics haven't made it there yet, right?
Yeah, yeah. Any updates from the unknown marbler about pachinko?
The amount of people that ask about pachinko blows my mind. It blows my mind. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. People love it. People love it. You know,
it's hilarious. Oh look, Spoo's, is this Spooo?
What?
Oh hey! All of a sudden I'm off this. Thanks, Spooo. Sure, whatever. Just shove me halfway off the screen. Go right ahead.
Trying to get you in the sands here with me.
I don't want to be in the sands. I live in the desert already. I don't need sand.
I'll just stay off cam to make it easier or whatever. It doesn't matter.
No, I got it.
Oh,
Get on cam.
Oh my God. On cam? Okay, hold on. I got to turn my light on.
What is this?
Sitting here in the dark.
What is that?
What is going on? Hello, everybody. I'm Spooo, and oh my God. Here's a little comedy we needed before Community Day. There we go.
Now it should switch.
Hello?
There we go.
Now it should switch over.
Hey, it's Spooo.
Yay!
Good morning, sunshine.
So yeah, pachinko. Crazy, man. People are crazy about pachinko, huh?
It's nonstop. I'm always getting questions about it. I don't know where the unknown marbler is with it. He's teleporting through space or something. Space and time. All I know is it's going to come back big.
Yeah.
Even bigger than before.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You guys want a hair flip?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we talked about a little bit about Mixer
Mm-hmm.
and the transition, and then creativity. At the
Yeah, a
start.
little bit about the creative process and importance of stepping back and building and all that good stuff. So
Kind of like
And
what
now
we've
you're up
all
to
been
speed.
doing. Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, it's like something I was talking about yesterday too with you, Pixels. Just like, hold on, I have echoes going on. Like just the shorter streams, and but when you're not streaming, making sure you're getting things done, kind of
Right.
in a sense of
yeah.
helping your stream.
Yeah. Walking that balance.
Right.
It's very it's always very interesting to me, like talking to people that seem to be at their happiest. Like Mike was talking about like streaming for 4 hours at a shot. And I've talked to a lot of people that seem to be at their best. Like 4 to 6 hours has always been like everybody I've ever talked to, including like some very experienced streamers who, it's like, how long do you think you should really stream for? Because
Right.
this was back when, we were all like, we were grinding it out and we're all like 8, 10, 12 hours at a shot with our streams. And they're like, if you're doing more than four to six, you're killing yourself and you're not at your best for your community, was the answer that I would get back. And I don't know, like personally speaking, I agree with that. I feel like I give my community more staying in that 4 to 6 hour window if I do that, because that keeps me pretty much at peak energy, because you're putting energy out, you do get tired.
Well, yeah, and I feel the same way, but like it's just I'm from a different, like I grew my stream doing 20-hour streams, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, so I've evolved to kind of understand that's not the way to go.
Yeah.
Even though I got to where I kind of am from doing that. So it's
It was part of the journey.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I've been toying around with is no starting soon screen.
Yeah.
Just jumping right into
I
it.
click live and I'm right there, sitting there alone by myself, staring at the screen.
I don't know. I've always wanted a starting soon screen, but I've never like, I have starting soon up, but there's no timer, there's no anything. I just kind of like sit here in front of my computer and wait. So yeah, I kind of just like, I turn on my mic. When I see people come in, I start talking to them, even though the starting soon thing is on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've kind of done the same thing. Sometimes I'm just like, screw it, I'll just be here in silence for a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's so funny though, because like the delay of people that find out when you're on, and then all of a sudden maybe 10 people are in your chat.
Yeah. But
you're like, all right, here we go.
It's got an interesting effect. Like you can engage people right as they're coming in, and like you can keep the conversation going right from the start.
Yeah.
As opposed to a starting screen. If it's like 10 minutes, you'll see people come in and then go out and like leave because of the starting screen. It's almost like an ad, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just set up with an ad. You're like, oh, I'll come back later or whatever. And yeah.
Well, then also like some people have really great intros, so which is engaging,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To an audience. So like if you have something that's really good, maybe it's not so bad and everyone gets pumped up that it's starting.
Yeah. I think I like the little bit of hype that it builds. I like the fact that everybody starts to gather in, because there's a lot of people that don't pay any attention to, you can post your schedule like 15 times and they don't really, that's not really what they're looking at. I've talked to a lot of community members. It's like, I come onto Twitch, is Pixel streaming, is Spooo streaming, is Standard streaming, whatever. They are great. That's where I'm going to go, kind of thing. They're not really, so they're coming in to see, or they have their notifications up so that when you go live, that's when they're notified you're going live. And sometimes it takes people a few minutes to come into your stream. Like there are people that have like almost like a pre-stream routine with their favorite streamers. It's like, oh, look, so-and-so is going to be on. Great. I'm going to do a work lurk or something like that, but they'll go get their coffee. They'll go do whatever. And then they come over and they sit down and hang out with you for a while. You know, and along the lines of what you're talking about, as far as like being in chat, I've come around to the idea that once your starting soon screen goes up, unless you've got some emergency situation you're trying to address in like your OBS or something like that, that you need to keep in mind as a streamer that that's when your stream is starting. As soon as you have gone live, because the little bit of banter, the hearts that, even at the emotes chat, the hearts that get thrown back and forth, the hellos, the hugs, whatever the case may be, I think that's really important. It gives you that little bit of a chance to connect with your early birds, because the people that are there right away are people that really care. They were waiting for you to come online. So it's really a good idea that you be there for them and chat with them a little bit and get a chance to talk back and forth before you really get into the swing of it. It's almost like this. It's like the same idea as doing just chatting before your main stream, like, because it gives you that chance to connect.
Yeah. That
gives you another chance to connect that I don't think should be missed.
I wanted to make a point earlier with the schedule thing. I think with the schedule, like, people don't really tend to look at a streamer's schedule. Maybe they do. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I always do things off of what I do, which isn't the greatest, but because I know other people do different things. But I think with a schedule, if you're consistent and you're always on that schedule, instead of learning the schedule, they just kind of know when you're on because of habit.
Yeah, they learn your patterns. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like they know if they generally come hang out, that there's a good chance they're going to find streamers, A through Z that they were looking for. It's like, oh yeah, this time of day, so-and-so is usually on, or, or they always know, like there's certain events they always remember too. It's like, oh, that's right. Community Appreciation Day is always on Sundays or Fridays or whatever. As long as you maintain a basic routine, the schedule is there for people coming in brand new. I feel like, it's like, what's your schedule like? And then they can pop up a command. Oh, okay. So that's when you're usually streaming, and that's what you usually stream. Okay. Right. That gives them an idea whether or not they want to hang with you a little bit longer.
Truth.
Do you personally have an ideal amount of time between races you like to see? Some streamers are 20 minutes, some 1 minute. Your thoughts? I mean, I think we all have kind of different thoughts on it. Like I like personally, I like to just have a steady flow. So like when I load a race, I like to start the timer and just keep going. Whereas some don't. And I think
Yeah.
Jamie has a different perspective on it, and I think Spooo also does as well. And I'm like in that middle range right now where I'm like at 87 seconds or something. That's like where I sit. It's like a minute 27.
Mhm.
And I just like to keep it going because it kind of like it sets the pace of the stream. It sets, like, if I have a lot to talk about during a stream, I might extend that timer to give me more time to talk without the race running.
Mhm.
But for me, it's just about flow, like a steady flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with that, regardless of what the time is. I mean, I'm not crazy about extremely short timers. I think that just creates all marbles, which is, it's fine, but I like to sprinkle in Spooo, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I like 2-minute timers, you know? I like to talk to people. I like to, and if I'm playing ukulele or something, I'll make the timers even longer. And then I'm not even watching the races. So it's like, sometimes I'm like, maybe I should just switch to music instead of like doing marbles, because I have the marble thing up, but then I start playing and I get into playing and I don't even watch the races.
Yeah.
You're
It's
performing.
All right.
I became a really big fan. Like, I experimented a lot with timers too. Like, I tried running, like, at one point in time, I tried keeping it on a consistent schedule of, like, as soon as I'd load the race, I do a 90-second timer. And we were doing that for quite a while, and it just didn't work. Like, we're just, you really have to gauge it to your community, Carla. Like, it's how chatty is your stream? What I actually ended up doing was I actually have mine set up now where I'll load the race and we'll keep talking. And once the conversation, like once I've pretty much caught up with chat or whatever, then it's a 60-second timer. It's like, all right, guys, you got 60 more seconds to get in on a race if you want to.
Well, that's a great thing to do too. Just kind of banter, and then when you feel a lull happening, say, "Okay, timer's starting. Let's go." You know, and then just kind of keep it going.
Yeah, and sometimes there are whole chunks of the stream where everybody just, like everybody's talked out, and it's like, you can do more. Then you can run the races a little bit more quickly, run them in a little more rapid succession, whatever the case may be. But I've just become, I've learned along the way, I'm just such a massive fan of making sure that you take that time to connect with your community, and really get a chance to talk to people and really get a chance to, all the things that we talk about all the time, whether it's teaching, answering questions, just getting to know each other better, whatever the case may be. And 60 seconds is enough time for somebody to, I want to say, wake up. Like when you get really chatty, like a lot of times people even can forget about the race temporarily. And then it's like, okay, guys, 60 seconds. And everybody's like, whoa. And then you'll see a whole bunch of play commands pop up after that. So that seems to really work. The thing that I would warn about that I see so much of, and again, guys, your content, much respect, you do with it what you want to, is people will come in and ask me about growth, and I'll go look at their timers, and they're popping off like 30-second timers, and that's fine if that's what you want to serve. It's just that you got to bear in mind that if half the world out there is on mobile, 30 seconds is probably not enough time for them to get in, because the way Twitch mobile works, there are times that you can be a minute or more behind on the stream. So that might not be enough time for them. Like, they're trying to play the lag game. They don't even know when to enter races.
Yeah.
So you just want to keep in mind with everybody's lag and all that they have enough time to get in. So if you're going to run consistent timers like that, give them enough time to get into the race, like what Mike was talking about, like with 87 seconds, things like that, that should be more than enough time. But
I really think it's just important to understand it's not all about marbles. And a lot of people have that mentality, just like everybody wants to crank races. Let's crank type of a thing. And it's good. I've done it before. It's good to crank races. It's fun. I like to find the balance between like helping out the grinders and hanging out with my stream, So, but it's not all about that. And I think people really put that in their mind that that's what it's all about.
Yeah. So it's really interesting too, like along the line of the grinders, like I've had a number of the grinders come to me and also say it really boils down to personal taste. Like, even, like no matter what somebody comes to the game looking for, it boils down to their taste. So like I've had grinders come to me and say, I like hanging with you and doing races in your stream because you let us know how many races you're going to do, but you're so chatty I don't have to worry about missing races with you because
Oh, and that's another thing too. Like,
you know,
if there's people out there grinding, like doing really quick timers, and you're maybe doing it slower, you're an easy grind for the grinders. Like, oh, okay, I got plenty of time to go drop a ball in this stream over here. I'll put it on this screen, or, you know, I've done it before. I had tabs open of people that, you know, had slower timers and people that were cranking and people in the middle, and so it's like all over the place.
Yeah.
Those people are important too.
Oh, yeah.
Even the slow ones, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's not just about, you know, I never cease to be fascinated with the different responses I get from, you know, because some people want to just race, and some people just want to chill and hang out and all that. And I'm amazed who comes and tells me what. A lot of times, you know, it's like, you know, I would do something, or I'd make a change, and I'd be worried about how like the grinders would feel about it, or how the community would feel about it. And the responses can be very surprising, as far as like, I really thought that when I moved back to the slower timers and all that, that my grinder community was going to hate that. And most of them came to me and told me, no, I really like that. That gives me more time. I have plenty of time to drop a marble with you. That's really great. So again, I think that a lot of that boils down to, you know, you do ultimately, you look at the community you want to serve, and you do what you think is right, and let the viewers decide, you know, make their own decision as far as what, you know, what they want, you know, whether they want to continue to hang with you or not. And you also have to keep in mind, you're not going to make everybody happy.
Right.
Some people are going to love slower timers. Some people want rapid fire timers. You know, that's.
Well, and when you do it slower too, if anybody new is coming in, it kind of makes it more exciting, in my opinion. It makes it more exciting rather than just like race after race after race. It's like, all right, you know, you're building up more of a hype race for anybody new coming in.
Yeah. No, yeah, new people are important, right? Like creating an environment that is welcoming to people absorbing your content for the first time. Right? And it's just like,
I think anybody new coming into a stream that's like really just pumping race after race after race, they just don't get it. I mean, they might like it for a little bit, like, oh yeah, a bunch of races real quick. But if they're not learning anything, or like learning anything about you, your stream, or the game, I think that's just going to die out quick, and they're going to go somewhere else.
There's no connection, right? No connection to maintain the relationship.
Yeah, you need to be able to talk to people. You know, it really, if you don't, you know, it's again, what kind of community do you want to build? But one of the things that actually had me adjust the timer, and Mike, I know you know this already because you and I had this conversation just before I did it, was I wanted my stream to be more chatty. Yeah. I had noticed that, you know, when I was going on a very rigid timer schedule, that I was getting tons of play commands, but not much else. You know, when I would go to other streamers that I personally admire, and I would notice I was actually envious of how active their chat was, how much they were talking, not just to the streamer, but talking to each other.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to build. So I changed my focus a little bit, and the timer was a part of that. You know, being able to talk with people more, and actually being able to take the time with them, where their comments weren't always lost in the play spam, so to speak. And then we could, once everybody got used to that flow, then they understood. It's like, okay, I don't want to ask Jamie a serious question as soon as he announces the race goes up, because there's going to be, you know, 800 play commands, and I should just wait a second. But after that, people get into the swing of it, and then you can carry on. You kind of create your own flow that way. You can actually have like real conversations.
I mean, Yusuf is talking about short timers, and I think CCB as well. And CCB, I think it goes back to like, yeah, if you're doing longer timers and there's a lull, then yeah, like get more excited and be like, all right, I'm gonna start this sucker up quick. You know, like no one else is coming in. If you guys really want to get in, you're running out of time. Like I bark at people when the timer's either getting really low, or if I'm gonna start it up. And like the same with Yusuf too. Like, yeah, talking definitely can happen regardless of the timer, but it's like I think the focus of the stream will change the conversation. So if you're constantly focusing on doing quick races, then that's what your stream's going to be. You're just going to be racing, talking about doing quick races, race, quick race, great race, quick race, race. Like, that's what you're talking about, which isn't, it's not the end of the world. It's like, that's just what your stream is going to end up being. Especially if you're trying to teach people at the same time too, because I did the same thing. You know me, I did freaking as fast races as I could back in the day. And that's just what my conversation was, because that's all the time I had to talk about. Was what I was doing and how fast I was doing it, and I was trying to get people involved in it too. So I was talking about that, and it's just, yeah, that's just what the conversation ends up becoming, unless you're not teaching anybody anything and you're just like racing.
Yeah.
And then can anybody really grasp that if you're not, I don't know. That's just how I feel about it.
But yeah, like
I've done it. So my stream became races, and I didn't have any time to talk about anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see, like, you could do the test yourself. And once again, guys, remember, this is our opinions, and that's it. You don't have to take it, you don't have to use it. And if you feel like you have something better, do it. Like, that's totally cool.
Yeah, I always teach from experience. I don't just kind of like, I try to teach people what I've learned over whatever I've done, rather than like read something and be like, oh, I know this now. No, it's just like, it's literally what I've poured myself through.
Yeah.
Like, if you play around with your timers on stream, like, let's say you are a grinder right now and you're a grinder streamer, but like, and you do fast timers, play around with the idea of like just try things and like count it out, count it in, do whatever you need to do to like be like, okay, they were talking about long timers, let me try something, let me try that for a day for a stream and see what happens. Do some studying. That's what I do. When I did those advertisements, I would just like run ads because I was trying to learn the system. You can't learn the system without doing it. So I just ran ads all the time. I had enders running ads. I was like, we need to figure out how this system works, if it's good, if it's bad, and what it does to the stream. And we learned it's not good. Like, it works against you. So do that to your stream, is like, break it down, go, okay, I know I want to grow. Like, and then once again, this is like, if you want to grow, like, break it down and go, okay, I want to grow. I know right now I do 30-second timers. That's one thing I don't know. If I change it, maybe it'll get better, maybe it won't. Just play around with it. Play around with contained experiences. Don't change everything at once and then assess it and be like, well, I just changed everything, so I don't know exactly what did it. That's the way, like, I change the energy system over time. Is like, I let it play out for a season and I change little components of it so I can watch the effects of that change and not the effects of a multitude of changes and not knowing exactly how things work.
Right. Yeah.
I kind of want to use an example, but I don't know if I should say it. It doesn't really matter. It's a good example. There's a stream out there that basically just grinds and they do really well, So it's like, but they mix in a little bit, but it's basically a grind stream. So, it's important to understand that what I've learned over time and what we've all learned over time isn't like you said, Mike, it's not for everyone. And we're just teaching from experience, basically. And you got to fall into the flow of your own stream, and if things are working, just go with it.
Yeah. Are you? I guess it's important to say, like, are you getting what you want?
Yeah.
From your stream?
Right.
If not, and you really have to keep in mind like what you want. So if you want something different, then you need to every aspect of your stream, and up to and including the timer, you need to adjust for that. It's like this is what I want to do. This is what I want to accomplish. So I need to make sure I design my content around that. But not everybody, and that's just it. What it boils down to is not everybody wants the same thing, and not everybody's community wants the same thing either. So decide what you want to have, and then structure it around that. It's every aspect does feed into it.
Hell yeah.
I had a point, but then I was listening.
Your community will let you know if the pace is too fast or too slow. Exactly, right? If you
Yeah.
notice, like you just notice, like you can pay attention to your chat, pay attention to the flow. If you notice, like Jamie said, like if you just notice things start becoming play commands, then it's like, okay, like how do I engage again? How do I get engaging?
Right. And something I haven't said this in a while is like, but it's so true. Like, never force anything. Like when I don't know. Maybe this isn't right, but when I first started streaming, I hated social media. Like I hated it, so I didn't force myself to do it, even though I was like, I know it would be good for me. And I just found other things that I really liked doing around streaming, and I really focused on those things because I was having fun doing those things rather than trying to force myself to do something. I just did the things that I enjoyed and I was good at. And then over time, I started getting more and more into social media and started liking, just learning about it more, I guess. And that was part of it, was just I didn't have enough knowledge about it. And that's why I felt like I was forcing myself into it. And then over time, I just like kind of gained knowledge over it. And now I like it. So I don't know. I think it's important to think about, if you feel like you're forcing something, you stop. You just stop.
Yeah.
Of course, that's not for everyone. I know social media is important in this game, and all sorts of things are important that if you feel like you're forcing it, maybe it's necessary anyway, but I don't know. That's just my mentality around it. It's like anything. You just don't force anything. You guys were you ever taught that growing up? Like if you feel like you're about to force it, like with tools or whatever, you don't do it because something's gonna break.
Yeah,
it's true. It's a good way to put it.
It is. Just don't let that forcing feeling bleed into I'm not gonna even try it kind of thing. There's
right.
Like, and I only think of that, Spooo, because that's how I was with Twitter. Was I don't like Twitter. I don't get it. I don't like. I didn't feel like I could make it work. And
never say never, but don't force it.
Yeah. Once I figured it out, suddenly it became, like you said, it became a whole lot of fun beyond that. And it's like, oh, okay. Forcing yourself a little is one thing. I would actually add the word continuously. Like, don't continuously force yourself. Okay. Because then you really will hate it.
Right.
It's yeah. Then it becomes a whole different thing. But
well, it makes sense. I mean, well, it's like recently I've gotten into TikTok. I know you guys are probably sick of me hearing about this, but sick of me talking about this. But a lot of people are like,
TikTok conversation again. Oh God! All right, whatever. Let's do it. Let's get it over with.
A lot of people are just like, I hate TikTok. No, never. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's just like, I mean, just ease your way into it. Just give it a try. I don't know. Because I'm the same way. I used to be the same way anyway. And about all social medias. So, and I just started slowly diving in and understanding what they're all about.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, it's 11 o'clock, guys.
It is.
It's only felt like a half an hour. That's crazy.
Yeah, weird, eh?
Imagine that. Oh man. So
thanks everybody for coming out again, as always. Community Day, noon with Standard Damage, and then 4 p.m. Eastern with Spooo, as always, and get those prizes out. And what do we got going on?
Official...
mid-season update. We're planning next Wednesday, hopefully. It's nothing major. It's some awesome streamer skins, and then actually there is something major: the full rewrite of the chat functionality, right? The beta that you guys have been working on or testing. So
it's really awesome too. Yeah, it's really awesome too.
Do you notice it? Do you notice a difference?
I don't. It feels a bit smoother.
If I'm being honest, I don't. But I haven't really been paying attention to what I'm looking for.
Yeah, it does. It feels like this version actually runs a little bit smoother. Like it's a little bit like the game wasn't making my computer chug anyway, but it does. It feels very, very smooth is really the only word I can use. Like with the chat functionality. Yeah.
Because it potentially fixes the bug of where people can't connect to the IRC. which is like a pretty common
Maybe I
bug.
have noticed.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's all coming, guys. Enjoy the community day with the guys, and yeah, we'll see you
Thanks
next
for coming
time.
out.
Yeah. We'll see everybody in a bit.
All right, take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.